Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Earlier today, I saw on my Twitter feed a tweet from the physicist Carroll, and this is what he basically wrote. Actual science would like a word. This is in response to the biologist Colin Wright, who was basically arguing that humans come in one of two sexes, and Carroll, the physicist, said, well, sorry, actual science would like a word. And then he shared a graph, a figure from a Scientific American article that was disputing the idea that uh, humans come with two biological sexes, but rather, there's a whole variety. So not this is not gender, even sex itself, biological sex is it's to simply say that it's two sexes, it's wrong. And so I responded to Carroll, whom I met in 2017 at a conference, and let's just say I did not walk away with a good feeling subsequent to our short interaction. I'll leave it at that so that I don't get personal and just focus on his position. So this is Carroll, who's using his platform as a public intellectual to say, hey, the science, rubes, plebs, the great unwashed, enough with your binary sex BS. I, man of physics, I'm telling you, sorry, science is called, and the real science is saying it is, it is on a spectrum. Basically, what that figure shows is that there are different chromosomal or congenital or developmental things that happen that cause people to not fall into two sexes, that or the traditional sort of manifestation of male or female. That doesn't mean that humans are not defined as a two-sex, sexually reproducing, sexually dimorphic species. It's precisely why a couple of years ago, I think it was, let me check, Saad Truth 861, I released a clip where I implored people to please be more inclusive of finger diversity and finger fluidity, because we focus so much on this whole humans come with 10 toes and 10 fingers. There are people who have more than 10, and there are people who have less than 10. And therefore, it is simply not true that, people come with the fixed trait of having 10 fingers and 10 toes. Well, today, by the way, for you, I've brought the actual scientific term because, man of science, physicist Carroll is all about science. Oligodactyly is the condition whereby you have fewer than 5 fingers or toes on a hand or foot, which is exactly what I had done in the Sad Truth 861 without using the fancy scientific terms for those conditions. Polydactyly is when you have one or more extra fingers or toes on your hand, your hands or feet. Polythelia is when you have more than two nipples. So you see, here I've got the scientific terms that demonstrate for you that people can have more than 10 fingers, less than 10 fingers, more than two nipples. And therefore, you see, it's not true that biology books should be saying that humans come with two nipples and 10 fingers and toes. That's very, very solid logic. And so I wrote to man of science himself. I'm going to read you the tweets. Dear Noble Carroll, was Charles Darwin wrong about his theory of sexual selection as applied to sexually reproducing species, including humans? Speak slowly so that the slow non-physicists such as myself can follow. Thank you. Then I added, Dear Carroll, I, along with countless academics over the past 100 years, have conducted innumerable studies presuming two sexes exist. Were we wrong? Please use simple words as to not overwhelm me. Thank you. Then I added another tweet. Dear Carroll, biologists and other slow people consider Homo sapiens to be a sexually dimorphic species consisting of two sexes defined by differing gametes. Are they wrong? please don't use fancy graphs as to not confuse me. Thank you. And then just in case some of the few imbeciles who might write to me and say, why are you being so spicy? So I wrote, in case people wonder why I can be spicy in these public exchanges when I'm otherwise a very warm and friendly person, it's because I'm utterly angered by the spread of pure parasitic shite by a supposed public intellectual. I appeared in front of the Canadian Senate in 2017, where they mocked and scoffed at my imbecility, where I said, hey, guys, there really is such a thing as male and female. And, you know, Charles Darwin, you know, that bullshit quack science guy, had talked about sexual selection, you know, the mechanism that explains the evolution of traits and behaviors in all sexually reproducing species, talked about binary sex. He didn't talk about a fluidity of sexes. The fact that we have conditions that result in some people not being easy to nicely place into the pigeonhole of male or female doesn't imply that the default value of Homo sapiens is not two sexes. So, dear Sean Carroll and Canadian senators and other activists, intersex people exist. Gender dysphoria exists. People who exhibit those realities should be afforded all due dignity. They should live their lives free of bigotry. That doesn't mean that we alter reality in order to uniquely celebrate that particular personhood, as I explained during my Canadian Senate. It doesn't mean that my children should learn that boys too menstruate, Sean Carroll. It doesn't mean that my children should learn that men too can be pregnant, Sean Carroll. I could walk and chew gum at the same time. I could be fully socially liberal and support trans rights, as I do. You couldn't be more socially liberal than me, while also being deontologically committed to truth, to reality, to the mechanism that infants, before they even know how to speak, are able to assort things into male and female. And you know why they're able to do that? Because we're a sexually reproducing species made up of two sexes that are defined by differing gametes. If you have any additional questions, Sean Carroll, please email me and I'll explain things to you in as few complicated words as I can. It's unbelievable that this is what we're going through. Take care, everybody.